My name is Eduardo Silva. This is for Info 5720 for the fall 2021 school year. And we are going to be talking about the Assure model for copyright. This is my presentation regarding the Assure model. So, what is the Assure model? It is a system designed to teach technology in the classroom. It assures that the technological environment in the classroom is safe and ready to use for our students. The Assure acronym stands for Analyze Learner Characteristic, State Objectives, Select, Modify, or Design Materials, Utilize Materials, Require Learner Response, and Evaluation. First, we're going to go ahead and start off with Analyze Learners. It is important to understand our students' needs. I am going to give a lesson for 4th grade. That is what I'm most familiar with. I've been doing that grade for the past 5 years. We in this classroom, the students are digital natives and they are familiar on how to use the World Wide Web. They do need guidance about copyright law. The teacher seems not to understand or not completely know what copyright is, and they are very hesitant as to how to proceed with this. So as a school librarian, I'm here to help my teachers and guide them with this information. Some students may act against copyright due to the fact that they have grown with technology. A lot of these students, since they were babies, they've grown and known how to use technology at all times. So they might not see the importance or why they need to be using copyright materials or why to cite different sources. So we need to ensure that they know why it is critical and important for them to understand this. Students will have varying learning styles, such as differently able students. We need to make sure that they understand how to use the materials provided, the sources that we give them, and anything that they need. We need to make sure that they understand that. So we need to provide guiding questions for them, a template for them to use, and if possible, give them the definition of what copyright law is so they understand what it is. And of course, we are there to help them and guide them when dealing with this lesson. For our gifted students, they will tend to rush throughout the work, and not put any effort into the lesson. Sometimes they feel that they might know everything and this is nothing, we know what it is. We need to ensure that we create an engaging lesson for them so they can connect to the copyright lesson and they can understand what copyright is, because again, copyright affects everybody, not just students, and we need to ensure that they know what it is. And for all our students, we need to understand that what copyright is to protect. Copyright is there to protect someone's work, such as their own or anything that they're using for class or for any home purposes as well. My standards and objective for this lesson is TEKS 4.5C for the technological and media. The students practice safe, responsible, legal, and ethical behavior while using digital tools and resources. The student is expected to abide by copyright law and the fair use guidelines for educational multimedia. My objective for this lesson is to identify the source of information and determine if students understand how to protect their creations and those of others. It is critical for them to know that copyright is important for them as well as any other creator out there. These are some of the resources that I have provided for my students. We have Copyright Facts for Kids. It's an article that they can read and they will understand a little bit more as to what copyright is. It is kid friendly. The vocabulary used is very intriguing and it engages the students, and it provides a little bit more in detail, especially for those students that don't need any video or auditory help and they just like to read and understand that they can use this resource as well. I have also provided Copyright Alliance. This is another article that I've used for students for them to read and understand what copyright is. Copyright and Fair Use. This is a video. This is for my students that need a visual or a little bit more of help. Auditory, knowing what copyright is a video they can use, and to know how to cite something. We have the Citation Machine, which is a website that the students can use, very kid friendly, and it takes them step by step to create their citation for what they may need or what they need to cite in the future. For utilized resources, we make sure that they have access to the resources mentioned above in this previous slide. We can place them in our classroom website, Google Classroom, Schoology, etc., where they can have access to them when they need to, either at home or at school or at all times, as well as allowing models of what is expected to them. If we require the students to create something, then we need to provide that extra model for them to accomplish it. And of course, my 4th graders do tend to need a lot of guidance sometimes. So we make sure that we do the I do, we do, you do model, making sure I show at first how I am expecting something to be done, then they do it, then we do it together as a classroom, followed by they do it. So make sure that they understand that source or lesson as well for copyright. Require learner participation. While learning about copyright, we want to ensure that our students understand the importance of why we use it. Again, it's a common misconception that, oh, I'm a child, I'm not going to get in trouble for not citing my sources. Again, it affects everybody. So we need to make sure that they understand that. Not just because they're students, they get to get away with it. They actually, students and teachers are the ones that, get in trouble most of the time because we tend not to follow that copyright information. So we want to make sure they understand that. They locate information in the public domain and they will have to explain how they found it. So this is how we're going to make sure that they know how, if they understood the lesson. For example, they have to explain how to use the item under the fair use pact, right? Make sure that they understand how to use fair use and what falls under fair use. They will identify any items that they have found and explain how they found it and how they did not break copyright. Work on how they can ask for permission to use the file they found, either asking for permission from the creator directly or citing the source or anything that we have shown them to make sure that they understand how copyright works, and obviously helping them generate those citations for the links they have found, either using the machine generator or ourselves going in there and explaining step by step on how to use the citation. At the end, I have created a rubric that I have attached to that PDF, and in order to evaluate and see if students understood the copyright lesson, we make sure we know if students can locate and explain how copyright works. Being able to connect with students for them to see what copyright is, it is very important. They have to locate where the resources are in order for them to understand the copyright, and students will also be evaluated on how they do their citation. That will also give them a few points on their work. With that said, thank you so much and have a great evening.